Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily DVAR Halacha. And here's a brand new halacha for you, and it's for October 2nd, the 12th day of Tishrei. That means we're getting very close to Sukkot, and we better discuss how to properly do the mitzvah of Natilas Lulav, which means taking the four species in your hand and doing the mitzvah of the four species. Natilas Lulav is what we call it. There's a problem with the bracha. Usually we like to do a bracha right before the mitzvah. So you might assume that we would just take the four species in our hand and right before waving them, make the bracha. But there's a problem with that because as soon as you've taken them in your hand, you already fulfilled the mitzvah, and then it's too late to make the bracha. Again, we want the bracha before the mitzvah. So the next option you might consider would be make the bracha while all the four species are lying on a table. Make the bracha and then just scoop them all up off the table. We don't want to do that either because that's a little too much distance between the bracha and the mitzvah. We want it to happen right away. Therefore, there's this custom which you may or may not be familiar with, which is kind of unusual, and it says this. Take the four species in your hand before you make the bracha, but hold the esrog upside down. Yep. Take the four species in your hand while holding the esrog upside down. That means pitom, down, and the stem of the esrog up. And now make the bracha. Why? Because the mitzvah hasn't happened yet. The mitzvah only happens when you're holding all four species with the four species in your hand the way they grow. Well, the lulav is facing the way it grows, and the hadassim are facing the way they grow, and the aravos are facing the way they grow, and the esrog is facing upside down, with the pitom down. And so you haven't fulfilled the mitzvah, see? Because one of the four species is not the way it grows, and you only fulfill the mitzvah when you hold them the way it grows. So you make the bracha while the esrog's upside down in your hand with the other species right side up, and then right after the bracha, you flip it to right side up, and the mitzvah happens, boom, that second. And then you also do the nanuim, the shaking them in every direction, which is also part of the mitzvah, which we may discuss on a subsequent day. But you see, this is the perfect way. One more time, you make the bracha while holding all four species in your hand, but the esrog's upside down. It's an easy one to flip over, so right after the bracha, you flip it to right side up. Now, a lot of you out there know halacha pretty well, and some of you say, oh, I already knew this, but here's one new point for you to consider. The esrog's upside down, right? With the pitom hanging down, and some of you smart are thinking, wait a minute, that's the way the esrog grows on a tree. If we look at any esrog tree, you will see the pitom hanging down, and the stem is up in the air, hanging off of the tree. So why did we just say that holding an esrog upside down is holding the pitom down? That's the way the esrog really grows. So why did we just say it's a good idea to hold it upside down? Because that's not the way it grows. I hope that didn't confuse you. Here's the answer. The answer is that although an esrog hangs like that, with the pitom down when it's on the tree and the stem up, but that's not really the way it grows. That's just the way it hangs on the tree. When it starts to get heavy, it weighs down and the pitom falls downwards and the stem stays up in the air. But really, if you would watch an esrog from the beginning of its inception, the first thing to pop out of the bud is the pitom itself, which means that an esrog really grows with the pitom pushing upwards. And then as it grows and it gets weighed down, the pitom starts to hang downwards. But the real growth beginning of an esrog is pitom popping up. Therefore, holding the pitom upside down, facing downwards, is called not the way the esrog grew. And that's why we have today's a little bit complicated sounding halacha. You make the bracha, last time we're summing up here, you make the bracha while holding all of the species right side up except the esrog, pitom down, which is not right side up for an esrog. It just hangs that way on a tree. And then right after you made the bracha, you flip the esrog on its straight pitom up. So now you've made the bracha, and boom, the mitzvah happened right afterwards. And then we do the nanuim, the shaking of the four species, which we'll maybe explain tomorrow. Thanks for logging on, and log on again tomorrow for more. Bye-bye.